Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're talking all about the VAT refund. What is VAT? How to get a VAT refund? And is luxury shopping abroad, particularly in the European context, worth it for Canadian shoppers? I'm really excited for today's video because as much as I love to travel, I also love to shop. And I really think it'll be valuable for people who are planning a Euro trip soon, expecting to go shopping while they're there, and kind of just looking for information on how things work and what to expect. I know that I had trouble myself when I was looking for information on this topic a few years ago, and so I really hope that this is helpful for some of you. So I just want to do a bit of background first, and I guess we'll start with what is VAT. So VAT stands for value added tax, and it's essentially just a sales tax that's added onto the cost of goods and services. It's a form of tax that is implemented in many countries throughout the world, but it may go by a different name. For example, here in Canada, VAT is referred to as the Goods and Services Tax or the GST. So I just want to note that in discussing VAT, I'm doing so in terms of the European context and from a Canadian perspective, because that's what my knowledge of and experience with VAT is based on. I also suspect that, a lot of people would be interested in learning about how the VAT refund process works in the EU, just given the number of, large and very popular shopping destinations there. And also, given that luxury shopping in Europe tends to be far less expensive than luxury shopping, for example, here in Canada or even in Australia, and sometimes even in the US. So, in many markets that implement the VAT, tourists who shop at retailers that are part of a VAT refund program can actually recoup some of the tax that they've paid on eligible purchases. European countries typically offer tax refunds as a way to encourage tourism and boost foreign spending, which in turn is beneficial for their economy. So that's the whole reason behind VAT-free shopping and how it has become so popular. The way it works is in the EU, exports are exempt from VAT, and purchases made by visitors to the EU are considered exports as long as they end up being taken out of the EU. So the European market is particularly popular for VAT-free or VAT refund shopping, and that's because VAT tends to be higher in the EU. As a result, VAT refunds are more substantial, especially in the case of luxury goods and luxury shopping. So how much can you get back? Well, the short answer is that depends. So the VAT percentage varies by country, as does the amount that can be refunded and the minimum spend required to be eligible for a VAT refund. So ultimately, the refund that you receive will depend on a few things. As I mentioned, the first is the VAT percentage of the country in which you purchase your item. The second is the base price of your item. And the third is how you choose to receive your refund. So let's do a little example. Across Europe, tax is included on the sticker price of goods for purchase. So if you're shopping in Italy where the VAT is 22%, you won't be receiving a 22% refund on the sticker price of the item, but on the base price of the item before VAT. So say you make a VAT eligible purchase of €1,000 in Rome. The price before tax would be $819.67. This means that you'd theoretically be eligible for a refund of $180.32, which equates to 22% of the pre-tax price and 18% of the sticker price. However, notice I said theoretically because this refund amount will also be affected by certain convenience costs. So refund claims are typically processed by a third party. I don't believe you can process them on your own. Using these agencies to process your claim will also incur a cost or small processing fee, which will take away from your refund amount. Furthermore, choosing a cash refund on the spot over a refund to your credit card will also incur a small fee that will reduce your refund amount. Factoring in these additional fees, shoppers can expect to receive refunds of 10 to 16% of the total VAT paid. However, if you're doing your shopping at an airport on your way out of the EU, then VAT isn't even included in the amount paid, which in a way makes this type of shopping truly tax-free. This also means that you don't have to worry about filing a refund claim before exiting the EU. Sticking with the Italy example, in this case, you can expect to save the entire 22% VAT, which equates to 18% of the sticker price. So moving on to who and what is eligible for a VAT refund. So let's cover the who part first. So to be eligible for a VAT refund, you must meet 4 requirements. First, you must be a non-resident of the EU or a visitor to the EU that resides in a country outside of the EU. Second, you must be visiting the EU for less than 6 months. Third, your item must be a VAT eligible item that meets the minimum spend requirement for the country in which you purchased that item. Finally, you must have all of the appropriate documentation and receipts provided by the retailer. Now, for what is eligible. So, eligibility rules can actually vary by country, of course, but typically items that qualify for a VAT refund include unused consumer goods in their original packaging that meet the minimum spend threshold on a single bill or transaction. So, note that not all purchases are eligible for a VAT refund because the VAT refund is intended for consumer goods that are not consumed in the EU, meaning that they're intended for use in one's home country and that they're in brand new condition upon filing your refund claim. So, for example, if you buy a new pair of designer shoes or just shoes that meet the minimum spend threshold and come from a retailer that is part of the VAT refund program and gives you the appropriate documentation, make sure that you don't wear them before you leave the EU because you might not be able to file the claim, particularly if the agent processing your claim requests to see the item. I personally have never had an agent check my items while processing a claim. I don't know if that's because, I was carrying the bags, so it was evident that they hadn't been used, or if they were just more lenient and I was lucky. But I would say that if you've bought an item that you want to file a VAT refund claim for, avoid using it unless you absolutely need to, especially if the savings that you will make through the VAT refund are quite substantial because why risk it? Another thing to note is that for items to be eligible for a VAT refund claim, they must be able to fit in your luggage. So that's why, for example, larger items like cars and appliances are excluded from VAT refund eligibility, as are consumable items, as mentioned before, such as food, fuel, entrance tickets, hotel stays, and other travel related costs. So now that we've gone through the basics, we can cover how to file for and obtain a VAT refund in the EU, some of my experiences receiving refunds on eligible purchases, some VAT shopping tips and things to know, as well as my thoughts on whether it is worth it for Canadians to shop abroad. But I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to save all of that for part two that I'll post later this week. In the meantime, please come join me over on Instagram where I share curated photos, videos, and guides. But that's it for today's video, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.